Hey everybody, it's Liz. Today I want to share with you another project I created. This is for a swap, and it's actually a pocket letter swap. I haven't really done too many of them, so I'm not burned out on them yet. I know some of you maybe are by now, but I'm still actually still kind of learning. I don't know. But anyways, this is for a very sweet lady here on YouTube. I'm not going to say who it is because I kind of want it to be a surprise, even though she'll probably know that it's for her. But we decided to do a swap a little while ago, and finally finished mine. But I want to share with you really quick the items that I used for my pocket page. This is the collection I used. This is by Die Cuts with a View, and it is called the Primrose stack. And I'm not going to share it with you because mine is just pieces. I've used this collection quite a bit on several projects. It's a beautiful collection, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. Very beautiful colors, lots of pinks, blues, really pretty vintage images, things like that. And the reason I chose this collection is because my swap partner, her favorite color is blue, and I just searched and searched all over my stash for blue papers, and I couldn't find any until I ran into this stack, and I realized that it has a lot of blues and pinks, and I think that's just a really pretty color combination, so that's why I chose this. And then I also used die cut pieces from this collection here. It's by Bo Bunny, and it's actually called Noteworthy. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby a while ago. But I used some of these die cuts because some of the colors actually coordinate really well with this collection, and they still have that, that vintage look I was going for. So I used several of these die cuts and the paper stack. Okay, now I'm going to share with you really quick what I created. Now I did make a pocket letter and a card because I like to create cards to go with my pocket pages. And here is my pocket page. And I think it turned out really, really sweet. I think this one may be my favorite up to date. I'm not sure. But I think because it's more my style, you know what I mean? That whole vintage sort of shabby. And I love this paper because some of it is glittered. And I know this special lady just loves anything sparkly and, shiny. So I really hope she likes what I created for her. So let me just share really quick. And I know there's going to be glare because of the the plastic sheets, but let me see. Basically what I did is I started off with craft cardstock, and I cut craft cardstock for each of the little pockets, and then I adhered my paper on top of that. And I just like doing that because it kind of makes the papers pop, I think, when you have cardstock in the background, sort of like when you're making cards. So I tend to do that for my pocket letters. So this particular one is basically just fussy cut, not fussy cut, but cut from the collection. I made sure that it had this little cute bird in it. And there's some glitter in there on the bird. I hope you can see that. Really pretty. And because I was going for a vintage look, all of my edges are inked with vintage photo to give it that aged look, and I think it's just perfect. And what I did here is I just fussy cut some flowers from the paper stack. And this is one of the die cuts that I showed you from Bo Bunny. And again, this is all inked with the vintage photo. And let me explain really quick what I did here. For my first row, what I wanted to do is create sort of like a words of inspiration row. So that's why, this one says follow your dreams, this one says believe, and this one says inspire. So it's like just words of encouragement and inspiration. Okay? And so anyway, so I have that little banner or die cut piece. I added a little pearl. And the little butterflies, I used a Martha Stewart punch for my stash, and black ink on patterned paper, and then I fussy cut out vintage photo and added a pearl to the body. So really, really simple but very cute. This next one I think is my favorite. It's really cute. I added a piece of lace, and then I used my spellbinders. French frills, I believe, is called, the collection is called, and this is one of the beautiful little dress forms. So I die cut that, and I die cut the dress separately. I did two dresses to stack them up on top of one another, and I used foam tape to give it dimension. And I think it turned out really, really cute. Of course, I had to cut it because the dress form is quite tall. And then down here, because I have a dress form and some lace, I added this little bit of measure tape, or whatever this is called. You guys know what I'm talking about. But this was fussy cut from the collection, and I like it because it's got glitter on the numbers. And I wanted to give it a little bit of dimension. So see that? It's not flat. And then these alphas were cut from the die cuts. It was a die cut that had a label and it said believe. And I cut each of these little circles out individually and then just kind of adhered them on there to still spell believe. So really pretty. In this one here, I did the ornate frame. This is the ornate frame from Tim Holtz. And I die cut that out and inked all of the edges. And of course, most of it's going to get cut off, but I really just like, you know, the outside edges here, how they're decorative. And for the inside, that's the inside oval that you can die cut along with that frame. Sorry, I'm moving too much. Give me 1 second here to adjust my weight, kind of sitting on my knees. And then I did liquid pearls all along the frame here, and that's really pretty. And liquid pearls in bisque. And then I fussy cut lots of flowers from the collection, and some of them are popped up on foam to give a dimension. Then here is one of those die cut pieces from the Bow Bunny collection, inked with vintage photo, and that one just says inspire. So really pretty. And then my second row is where I kind of wanted to include some of the goodies. Most of the goodies I'm going to have, you know, almost everything on the back, so I'm going to show the back. The back is blank, so it just has, you know, the craft. So I'm going to fill each of the pockets with some goodies. But I did have 2 goodies in the front, only because I thought they were pretty, and they would look pretty on the front part, you know. So here, these are 2 tags that were from the die cut pieces. I inked them with vintage photo, and then I added just bits of lace that I thought would coordinate with the collection. And then I just have them tucked into the pocket. They're not adhered on there or anything. It just looks pretty. And then this middle one is really pretty as well. I have the pattern paper. This is one of the die cut pieces that I inked with the vintage photo. Then here I have some fussy cut flowers from the collection. In the background you can see a piece of lace that goes all the way across, and that's for my stash. Here's another one of the Martha Stewart butterflies. I stamped it first, inked it up, and then added a pearl to the center. Really cute. And then over here, I wanted to include these pretty cameos that I have in my stash. And I just thought the color was just perfect for this paper collection. So I have 2 little cameos. They're so sweet. And then what I did for the paper, to give it just a little more detail, I stamped in the corners. It's like a little tiny corner stamp that I have for my stash. I think it's by 7 Gypsies. And I did stamp here, and then added the little pearls to the center. Very, very simple pocket, but it's so cute, the little cameos. And I love that background paper, really pretty with the roses. And then down here, this is another one of my favorite pockets. And this one, I just have the pattern paper adhered on there. And this particular piece had a piece of what's it called? Almost like a lace that goes across, and it's glittered. I'm not sure if the camera's going to pick up on that glitter. But what I did is I just added another piece of lace, of actual lace, and it goes across on a diagonal. So that's really pretty as well. And then this bottom row, what I did is I wanted to include words that describe this special lady to me. So that's why I have, you know, she's charming, she's sweet, and she's pretty. So the top is, you know, words of inspiration. I've got a couple goodies, and then the bottom row is all about, you know, describing this wonderful lady. And again, more fussy cut flowers, more pearls. That stamp is for my stash. This one's really pretty too. The paper's got glitter on the flowers, really sweet. This was fussy cut from the collection. I stamped the word sweet on that. And then on every letter, I used a little bit of liquid pearl. Then I just added a pearl for my stash. These little perfume bottles are so cute, and they are from a stamp collection, I believe by Graphic 45, but I'm not 100% certain. I don't have the packaging, otherwise I would share it with you. But so pretty. I mean, they're so detailed. And all I did is I stamped on, you know, little scraps of paper from the collection, fussy cut them out, inked them with vintage photo, and then I have one popped up on foam tape. And they're just so pretty, right? I mean, they're so delicate, and I just thought, you know, perfume sometimes smells sweet, so I thought it would go really well with that, you know, particular pocket. This last one's really sweet and pretty, and this I made sure to cut out from the paper to include this little banner piece so I could stamp on it, and then just as pretty for my stash. And then on all the little flowers that the centers were showing, I added little drops of liquid pearls, again in the bisque color. So, really sweet. And then the 2 butterflies again that were stamped, and then fussy cut and inked pearls in the center for their little bodies. So, really cute. And then I just added some washi tape, and it's like a measuring tape, and I added that to the edge of the pocket here, the pocket page. And then I wanted to include like laces and stuff, So I just have them coming in here from that top hole. And I just sort of, just kind of loosely knotted them, and they're so pretty. These are all for my stash, and I thought the colors went really well with the papers. And then of course she can just untie this and use these, you know, if she wanted to. So there's lots of little laces here that coordinate really well. And then this little seam binding bow, I colored it up with some of my Lindy's, and then I inked it with the vintage photo to age it, and then I just tied a bow. So I think it's really sweet, and it turned out really pretty. And like I said, this is more my style, more vintage, more shabby, and this is right up her alley as well. So I really, really hope she likes it. I think it turned out quite nice, and a lot of love went into this, and hopefully she likes it. So that is the pocket page, and I'm going to share with you the card. I wanted to create a coordinating card to go with it, and this is what I came up with. And I think it turned out really sweet as well. I started off with the craft cardstock, and this is 5.5 by 5.5, and then I just, cut out each of the papers, inked them with the vintage photo, and then layered my papers on my card. And this is a very dimensional card. It's got, lots of foam in there. And then this postcard here came in the collection, so I cut that out, again inked it with the vintage photo, and I have it tucked in behind my frame. And then I have this gorgeous piece of crochet lace that goes across my card, and it's really pretty. I really like it. It has great texture, and it's just a really pretty detail for this vintage card. Here is the Tim Holtz ornate frame one more time, this time without having to cut it, the whole thing. I cut that with chipboard, and then I cut out with the pattern paper and adhered it onto one another. Inked all of the edges with vintage photo, and adhered on there with some foam tape to give it dimension and make it pop. So really pretty. Over here I've got some fussy cut flowers that I cut from the collection, and then some flowers that I added from my stash. Look how pretty they are. The colors go really well with the collection as well. Here's another seam binding bow that I created. It didn't turn out as pretty as I'd like. I wanted to be more fluffy. But I don't know, they, for some reason, mine end up being so flat, so I gotta fluffen it up a little bit. But again, I just dyed it using some Lindy's, 2 different colors to get this pretty aqua color. And then I just added a pearl to the center. And let me see, what else? Oh, here we go. This sentiment is for my stash, a stamp for my stash. I just stamped onto a scrap piece of paper. It says, thank you for doing this swap with me. And then I adhered it to another piece of scrap paper from the collection. And then I just have that popped up on foam tape. And then I wanted to include this really pretty butterfly. This is from the Magnolia Doohickeys Volume 4, I believe. I know this is one of her favorite doohickey dies, and so I wanted to include this butterfly on her card. And then I inked all the edges again with the vintage photo, added the little pearls to the center of the body, and it just turned out really pretty, really sweet, I think. It goes really well with the collection, with the pocket page. And on the inside I just added another piece of pattern paper, really pretty. And then I've got plenty of room here to write my message to my swap partner. So that is my card. I think it turned out quite nice. My pocket page is really pretty too. So really hope she likes what I created for her. So anyways, that is it for today. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you guys real soon. Bye-bye.